And welcome to the Red October Network. It's your man Stefan Cassidy here. We're talking today about Season 7 of The Voice. As you know, Season 7 of the hit TV show on NBC, The Voice, is going to be starting again in exactly 1 week, September 22nd on NBC. So it looks to be exciting with new coaches Pharrell and Gwen Stefani, which will be replacing Christina Aguilera and CeeLo Green. Definitely looks like it's going to be a new challenge. So I wanted to give a little preview and think of some notes about this new season. First of all, it does look like that the show has been somewhat astray from its roots. Season 3 was the first season I watched, and I obviously thought with 16-person teams that there was a lot of talent and led to some very talented matchups. As you remember, Cassie Pope, Terry McDermott, Michaela Page being the top 3, but also to a wealth of talent on all the teams. So even the top 20 was great, and some very feisty matchups in those knockout rounds. Closest to that, in my opinion, was Season 6, but mostly it was true that it did become somewhat of a show with the fact that the staff and everyone seemed to promote Christina Grimmie, who really didn't need the money because she was already big on YouTube, as you know that. So the biggest thing is expect the two new coaches to have this advantage that we've always missed on. And remember probably in Season 4 when Usher and Shakira and Usher rather came in, but it also was true that Shakira and Usher were much better singing talents than Pharrell and Gwen Stefani. Everybody thinks of Pharrell as a hip-hop artist, and really Shakira is kind of the Latin artist. So, notwithstanding, I think you're kind of seeing a little bit of a decline there. And the show has generally been a little bit different. Gwen does fit in with this transition of the show. I think it's notable that The Voice has slowly become less of an American Idol and more of a show about professional singers and professional talent. That's the toughest thing because American Idol has been in somewhat of a decline ever since the 3 original judges left. So basically I would say too that pretty much you would have to keep an eye on that, and they see it started to tank, and that's what it says. And I think there was no bigger statement in last season, Season 6, than when Audra McLaughlin, Cassandra Lewis, and Delvin Choice were all eliminated in one night. And who remains? Josh Kaufman, Jake Worthington, Christina Grimmie. Not necessarily the people you would want to have as your premier talent in The Voice. Teams do seem to be getting younger. Blake tends to want a more diverse set. I'm obviously a self-professed Team Blake fan, and I do notice that last season it did tend to go away from having the country mindset, and it turned into, having a little bit of everything. You can obviously think of Megan Ruger and Rhea Eaton and Alaska and Maddie and Noah Liss and Kaylee Glanton, all of which who are really, with the exception of Alaska and Maddie, were really kind of pop artists. Country is his mantra. Obviously, if Blake is going to win this season, he has to go back to his roots. He had to convert Cassidy Pope, who I think obviously was a big fix for that show, and obviously got it back off the ground because the first 2 seasons were rather unnotable. So, what do you do if you're Blake? Well, I think you gotta get back to your roots. So, Pharrell is a hip-hop artist, and I think too, speaking of him before, that this was something that they did to get a more professional artist on the show. And obviously with his production credits and knowledge of the music industry, it just is a confirmation, or affirmation rather, of producers who really want to see a more well-rounded business person, somebody who's not just an artist but a celebrity. Which spells a lot of bad news for a lot of the singers who are on this show. Let's realize too that The Voice is not Idol, because Idol was supposed to be grassroots, grab the person off the street and pretty much make them a star. American Idol did that for a while, and now they're starting to copy The Voice. And if you ever know this, I have to say it too, The Voice is pretty much a upper class. We do want to have some people with professional experience. They don't pay much attention to it, obviously, and that's the big term of a lot of the people who are Voice alums. They've kind of gone astray from the show. They still see it as a boost, and they try to use it in their own promotional matters. And but there's a great disconnect. A lot of these people who are helping these artists, like the ones I speak to on Twitter and the ones I speak to on Kickstarter, often need the same things that all the other artists have. They have to go and they have to get grassroots. Some people like Cat Roby Show can draw 800 plus to Kickstarter. I've had Kickstarters where I've contributed significant amounts of money where they've only drawn 136. So, and they do want to be shielded from the public eye. So obviously, NBC does a great job in promoting them, but then leaving them out with 13,000 followers and no way to really connect to your fans. I do think Gwen does fit this new mall enough to promote a male artist. My prediction, obviously, the winner is going to be on Team Gwen. The rock artist, a male, 25. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be a little bit of the older end. But I think, too, that this is the perfect scenario. And it's going to be somebody who really likes Gwen. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit of a kind of, I would say, like a pop artist, but a hard rock, right in the no doubt lane. Blake will have a tough time getting his team deep. I think, too, he's going to try to go back to his country roots. But I think he's going to get one of those young talents, and it's going to be a female, the Danielle Bradbury set, and that's his best bet. And you should ask Audra about that one, because obviously she was the great Twitter presence, and she definitely earned all her fans one by one, which means it was probably a big surprise that she didn't make it. So Adam will lose his team very early. I think he will not have the strongest team, but I also think, too, that he's going to have somebody who's really going to stick out. And I think it's going to be one of Blake's Battle Round turndowns. Somebody who's turned down, and it's going to be a steal. And for the first time, we're going to have a steal end up being in the final rounds. So that's a very, very big case. You know, Josh Kaufman being aside. And the fact that the last thing is, too, you are going to see the battle rounds are going to be fierce, but it's primarily because I predict that we're not going to see the talent level, because I think the fields and the talent pool is going to start to go dry after a while. So borders will be crossed, but you are obviously going to be showing that it's going to be more of a developmental thing where we're going to try to promote everybody rather than just one person. Although one person, most likely, like I said, a male, somewhat older artist from Team Gwen, obviously going to do this. So anyways, that's our Voice Season 7 promotional predictions. Follow me on Facebook at the Red October Network, and follow me on Twitter at JingleBeau4. That's JINGLEBEAU4. That's all for now. It's Stefan Cassidy. So long.